Hello students, welcome to Btech360. This week there was a very interesting article that was done by Musab Qazi in the news section of Career 360. And the story talks about the specialized engineering branches that are closing down dramatically across the country in all the engineering colleges. He goes on to talk about a story which a development that happened in PES college in Mandya district in Karnataka, where one of the specialized programs, BTech Automobile Engineering, is about to close down. But the fact is this, that the larger data set is dramatically different, as we keep saying. Core e-suffering is something that we all know. If you look at it, if the automobile engineering within PES, they actually had just 9 to 12 admissions, whereas the intake is possibly 60 students in a class. So last 5 years, all they had was about 9 to 12 students. Across the BTech Automotive, you're dealing with automobile engineering, you had 137 institutes across the country getting closed down, and Karnataka alone, about 13 of them. And only 6 institutes offer automobile engineering at this point in time in Karnataka. And the same thing goes with mechanical also, where about 454 BTech courses were closed down between 2012 and 2025. 454. In civil engineering alone, 409 BTech courses were closed down in 2012 to 25, 13 years. So you're actually seeing a lot many core engineering branches being closed down, and this is the AICTE data that we're talking about. Even in diploma courses, 357 mechanical plus 322 civil diploma courses were closed down across the board, right? And this is obviously corresponding with the kind of growth that we saw in IT and ITES services and the kind of stagnation that we saw in manufacturing sectors. So again, it is corresponding to the fact that if you actually create employment opportunities, the courses will survive. Or if you don't create employment opportunities, so it is not just about curriculum but also about expansion of the capacity to absorb these people who actually get trained in BTech colleges and want to look out for a job. And Musab writes, the PES College of Engineering is a government-aided tech education institute in Mandya city in southern Karnataka, was among the first in the state to establish an automotive engineering department in 1980. Around the time when the automotive sector in India began flourishing thanks to loosening of some regulations. He goes on to say, today the same department is a ghost town. Most of the staff has retired and only a handful of students are left. The institute officially shut down its undergrad program in automobile engineering in 24-25, with the final batch awaiting to graduate, which essentially means that we're now talking of an institute which has been there for the last 30 years, 35, 40 years, closing down, and the last batch is coming out in 24-25, after which it closes down. And the management, Mr. N.L. Murali Krishna, who is the principal of the college, says, the management decided to close it. We really wish to run it, but there were very few admissions. Between 9 and 12 in the last 5 years, our department is well established with 6 to 7 crores of investment in equipment alone. As of now, the final year is in progress. I don't know what will happen after that, says the principal. So now this is not just an isolated incident. We must all know that in most colleges across the country, the core branches are going down because people want to do CS. And to that extent, the admissions in core engineering branches have been coming down dramatically. You can look at even IITs, where a report was carried again by Career 360 some time back, where we talked of how some of the core engineering branches, even within IITs, are going begging, because of which they're actually closing down or they're applying to close down. And if you look at AICTE records also, you will see a lot more applications of how people are trying to start more of CS programs and also start simultaneously closing down some of the core engineering branches. And so to that extent, the fact that this automobile engineering BTech program is getting closed down is not an isolated incident. It's a part of a larger problem that India is facing of how core engineering branches are getting neglected, and to that extent, a lot of students are no longer wanting to take a core engineering branch. They rather prefer a CS branch because the student outcomes are far better there and the placements are far better, and to that extent, there's a problem in the core engineering. It also stems from the fact that some of the core engineering companies cannot match up to the kind of pay and placements that a CSE branch would do. So to that extent, students obviously will gravitate towards something which gives them a better job prospects and an employment prospects and a salary prospect also, of course. Now, this particular college, which is PES college, is among 14 engineering institutes in Karnataka and 137 across the country that had to close down their automobile program. So, as I said, it's not just isolated. This is one of the 14 in Karnataka alone, but across the country, if you look at it, 137 of these BTech automobile engineering courses have got closed down, right? And this all in the last 13 years. When you look at larger data also, it essentially talks of the same thing also. Even the premier national tech schools, as I talked about, IITs and NITs and also are slowly but steadily closing down some of the core branches. Now, the problem is not just because of how some of these branches are closed down, but we need to understand why it's happening and is there a solution for this whole thing. The problem, like as some of the people, there is a gentleman called Rajendra Kalbavi Rao, who is the president of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, says that they have to keep up with technological advances. Topics such as drone surveys, 3D printing and AI need to be incorporated in the civil engineering curriculum. That's why students are not opting for it, because this, what he says is that the curriculum has not evolved with technology space, and to that extent they possibly are teaching very dated and outdated curriculum, and because of it students are also not preferring, and in companies are not coming in to recruit these students. There is a gentleman called the principal of Sri Vishnu Engineering College for Women in Bhimavaram. His name is Mr. G. Srinivas Rao. He says the primary issue lies in the disconnect between curriculum delivery and industry requirements. Faculty exposure to evolving industry practices is in core sectors remains limited, while industry expectations have changed significantly. And that is true also, because he goes on to say that unlike the software industry, core industry cannot afford to hire and train fresh graduates extensively while keeping them on the bench. By the way, the principal runs a women-only college, and he says that despite being a women-only institute in a small town, they have not only retained their mechanical and civil programs, but they have also steadily filled their seats and placed a sizable chunk of the students. They achieved it through revitalizing the core BTech programs by setting up facilities such as vehicle design lab and concrete canoe labs, providing hands-on training in design and fabrication. So that is possibly a solution that one is dealing with, of how we can actually evolve the curriculum, update the curriculum, make it AI integrated and tech integrated, so that there is greater chance of doing it. So the issue is simple at this point in time. Like one of the things we talked of in terms of how do you evolve the curriculum, there was someone who actually started something with thermal along with civil engineering, and that started taking off. So to that extent, I think what is needed, of course, is creating employment opportunities, ensuring that the curriculum is integrated with new technology and new advancements in technology that happened, including AI for that matter, and making sure that the good core companies actually are, given space to come in and recruit students from these particular places, because only then core engineering will survive. But at this point in time, what we see, 454 of the mechanical engineering branches being closed down in the last 13 years, 409 of the civil engineering branches getting closed down in the last 13 years, 137 of the BTech automobile engineering branches getting closed down in the last 13 years. All this speak to something much more serious and much more grave. And if India has to move ahead, it has to ensure that manufacturing keeps moving ahead. And the only way you can do that is to ensure that there is good manpower, knowledgeable manpower, which is actually working in this manufacturing sector and contributing to the growth of the manufacturing sector. And that would not happen if you only survive on ITS and polytechnics. We need to ensure that our engineers also equally equipped and better equipped, so that the industry and the country can move forward. I hope we look at it very seriously and start looking at how to evolve the curriculum, how to create jobs, how to ensure that the core engineering companies are comfortable coming to the campus for placement. And unless we do that, we actually have a serious problem in hand. I hope this helps you. Thank you so much. Namaste.